Good afternoon, good evening, good night. Happy New Year to one and all. Welcome to this first episode for 2024 of Speaking Out, Exposing Corruption and Incompetence. Welcome one and all. Pleasant, good Wednesday to you all. As I said, first episode for the year 2024. And boy, we have so much to talk about. So share the live, let people know that we're on. I know people are anxiously awaiting this episode because the last episode we had would have been Wednesday, the 27th, last Wednesday. Monday being New Year's Day, public holiday. We did not have a program, but we are ready and we are willing, we are waiting to bring you information. So share the live. Let's celebrate being in the land of the living. This is the day that the Lord has made. Let's rejoice and be glad in it. You know, in all the with all the problems, you're always gonna find things to celebrate. So we should celebrate, even if it is that we are blessed to see a new day. Share the live, and let them know that we are on already when the program scheduled. And it is not surprising now. I keep repeating it, but you shouldn't be surprised that once the program was scheduled early this morning, our students were in the schoolyard just waiting for the door to be open. When it was opened a while ago, they rushed in and others rushed in as well. The people who are in the class very early, I must repeat this, are the ones who are on YouTube. And because once we schedule, you can go, if you're watching on YouTube, you can log in immediately. And the ones who are on Facebook, they will wait until we go live at 12 o'clock Guyana time, 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, New York time, and then they will join. So that is what happened this morning, and that is what happens every morning. So I want to again encourage you to follow the page. Go on Facebook and follow. The name of the page is Speaking Out, Exposing Corruption and Incompetence. Go to YouTube. The page is that by that same name, and Facebook, you like it, and YouTube, you follow. So Facebook, you go, you like the page, and YouTube, you follow the page. In that way, you are going to be kept abreast whenever we're going to have these programs. And not only that, those of you who are followers, those of you who subscribe to the channel will note that over the weeks, we have been putting some short clips. We have been putting short clips of information that were contained in the regular program. So we make short clips and we send it to you because we know that it's sometimes not easy for a person to sit there for 90 minutes or even more and watch a program. So what we do, we make clips and we post it on YouTube. And the only way you're going to get that information is if you are a subscriber to the YouTube channel. Once it is posted, immediately you get the notification that a clip has been posted by Speaking Out. So that is what we encourage you. That is what you should do this new year. And again, seeing that this is the first program for this year, I want to take this opportunity to thank you all for your support during the last year. And we look forward to your continued support this year. We are going to do everything we can to bring the information to you, the credible, factual information. And for those persons who have contributed, some people have made contributions, you know. We don't come out and ask, but some people have volunteered and have made contributions. We thank you. We thank you sincerely for all the support you have given. And we have promised that this year we're going to invest to get some more equipment. You may have noted that right now, as you look at the program, you might have seen that this image is improved from last year. So I am working on that. I have had some difficulties. I worked last night. I worked this morning again. I have some difficulties, but I promise you that within a very short time, you're going to see a much more improved quality of this program. That is our pledge to you this year. So share the live. And as I've said, those who have made contributions, I thank you we thank you most sincerely for that contribution. Your contribution went a long way towards ensuring that we improve the quality of this program. So yes, Yes, my colleague, and I noted Gilbert Vibort had said co-defendant. No longer, we are no longer co-defendants. The matter was struck out last week, Wednesday. The matter was dismissed by the magistrate. So we have the host and the co-host, but no longer co-defendant. So remember that. Remember that. As I've said, this is the day that the Lord has made. Let's rejoice and be glad in it. Many persons have not been that fortunate. We'll do the roll call because we've come to recognize that roll call is very, very important, and we are going to delve in to the information. Again, I want to say, now that this is a new year, 2024, I want to say happy new year to all our students. And I hope you made your resolutions and that your dreams for 2024 will come true. That is what we are hoping for, that your dreams or your resolutions for this year will come. Your bountiful success will come your way. Now, as I've said, so many students are in the classroom. I know every time I skip, like last week, for example, we did not do the roll call, and students will remind me how important the roll call is. So we're going to do the roll call in a short while, following which we're going to make some announcements, and I'm going to bring in my co-host, that co-defendant, Vibort. Get that right. Get that right. As I've said last Wednesday, and we had a program, the last program we had, I should mention this. We had a program last week, Wednesday, and we started at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, Ghana time. And the reason was that we had the court, the ruling by the magistrate at 11:30, and we played it safe. We were not sure how long that would have lasted, and therefore we rescheduled for 4 p.m. and that worked very well. Class was full. Class was full. And for those of you, again, we had the program and we explained what happened. We were privileged to have Attorney at Law, Dr. Dexter Todd, who came on the program last week there, and he explained the legal implications, all the legal arguments, and that. He explained in great detail. Or 2 short clips have been made of that. They are there for you to view at your convenience. And, again, I say that went down very, very well, the program the afternoon. And many persons have been reaching out, congratulating us on the success in this case. And we want to say this. We thank you for all the sentiments you have expressed. But as we have been saying from the outcome, we knew what the result would have been because we did not commit any crime. And we know that it was a trumped-up charge, and as we said, designed to get myself and Mr. Conway, my co-host, off the Police Service Commission. The facts are clear. Facts are stubborn things. I posted over the weekend, I think 7 short clips outlining exactly the sequence of events that led to the charge against us. And anyone with a modicum of understanding, comprehension, once you go through that, you will see what the real motive behind the charge was. And let me say this before I go further. In many of these matters, they know that they do not have any evidence to convict anyone. But getting a conviction is not the aim. The aim is to trump up a charge. In our case, to get us off the Police Service Commission. In many cases, to drag your name through the mud. Or slow charge with fraud, slow charge with sexual assault. That is what it is. To degrade to degrade or to attack your character. That is what it is. We're not going to allow it to go like that, because we noted that when these charges were laid in 2021, all over the media, or even recently, when the magistrate made a decision for the sexual assault charges to be disposed of summarily, all over the place, man. Now a slogan of face charge and all of that. Last week, the 27th, the magistrate dismissed the charge, and she made a lengthy ruling. And part of the ruling is on the page, speaking out, for you to see. I'll do other transcripts for you to see exactly what the magistrate found and what the magistrate said. There is silence, deafening silence from some of the, like the Chronicle and the Guyana Times and the Big Smith News Watch. Nothing. They didn't say nothing. I have not seen a word. But we know that is not unexpected. That is not unexpected. They want to drag your name through the mud, so they will do that. But when you are acquitted, they are silent. And that is the aim, just to never ever any evidence. The magistrate made some scathing remarks about the conduct of this whole investigation and the trial. And it is there. Go on the page, read for yourself. I have a part of the transcript there. I hope to get the time to do other parts, and I'll let you know. As I've said, we're not hiding anything. It's about transparency. We are not going to hide anything. It's all about transparency. Let me run the roll call quickly. Then we're going to bring in Mr. Conway, and then we are going to continue. Pace and power in this new year. Number one in class was Brother John, followed by Melissa, Colin from Queens, Winston from the UK, Pamela, I think Pamela is a West Coast girl, Joan is here, Sean from New York, Sean don't ever miss a class, Patricia is in class, Patricia is from New Jersey, Pauline came in very early, all these people came, Pauline came in at 8:07, Carlton came in very early as well, Courtney, Anthony was here, Princess said she missed Monday because she was busy. There was no classes on Monday, Princess, because it was New Year's Day, public holiday. We did not have a class then. So he did not miss. Brian is here. Ronald. Aileen, we got to talk a little bit about cricket in a short while, my girl. Vibert is here. Bart. Maureen is very much with us. Trati is here. Oren. Winston from California. Como from New Jersey. Gaston, my squad mate from Canada. Carville, another squad mate of mine. Earl. Charles, another squad mate. Tessa is here. Carl, another squad mate. And look, as we're talking about squad mate, this is 2024. And remember, this year is going to be our 50th anniversary. We have to plan something. One of our squad mates was on to me yesterday, and she indicated that we have to do something. 15th of February and the 1st of March, going to be 50 years since we took that step and we joined the Guyana Police Force. Some of us are ashamed of what the force has become, but that will not erase the fact that we were once proud members of that noble organization, at least an organization that used to be noble when we were there. Wayne from the UK is in class, Evelina. Then we have John. John is a regular too. Jean. Barbara is here. Vibert from East Bank. And this is what Vibert said, co-defendant. No, I got to upbraid you, not co-defendant. We co-defendant no more. Sandra. Queenie is here. Queenie, what's Queenie saying? Queenie is saying Happy New Year to all of us. She's in the US. Ulrich is in class. Clay. Francis from Melanie is here. Francis is a touring man, traveling man. So he was once in the US. He went to Queens. He went to other places. And he's now joining us from Melanie. John is in class. George. Karen. Patricia. Isabella. Felicia. Carlisle. Kerry, Denise, you see when I tell you all about all these people who are here, you see, that's one of the reasons why I want to do the roll call, for you to see. Anthony, I remember Anthony Shartman, 11032 from the TSU days. Welcome. Emerson, Brennan is in class. Evelyn, BV man Ezekiah, that me countryman, VZ man Ezekiah. Philip is here. Jakey in class, the original black man. Kay, I can send greetings on behalf of the people from Grove. All they celebrated our victory. Doreen, another squad mate from Canada. Then we have the one and only Barlett from Linden. Clarence, Rohan. Rohan was very, this morning, Rohan made lots and lots of comments. Sheila, Kaden, And Sheila is another squad mate. So I have communicated to several squad mates that we have to plan something for the 50th anniversary. Ruth is in class. Ulrich, another squad mate, 9555 is here. Rastaman, David, Leslie is in class. Then we have Yvonne is here with us. Everett, the man from Texas, is here. And then we have Chilo, came into class this morning. Schwartz, 10025. Rhonda, Happy New Year to Rhonda and all those who are with us. Rohan is in class. Jacqueline is here. Philip, Terence from Canada is in class. Philip, another Philip, David this time. And then we have my own boy, man, Ainsworth Mason, 12505, I think it was, is in class. Corinne, Rhonda, another Rhonda Chance this time. And then I have my boy, Oren from the UK, is in class with us. And again, as I told you, so many persons are here in class. Machu. And Machu is the first person to come on Facebook when we went live. He was followed by Marcia. Then we had Robin, Elvis, Clifton. And Clifton watches from Paris. He's all the way from Paris. And Paul is here. And Audrey is in class. Leon, Old Police, 97, 78, I think it was. And we had Lynette from Barbados, another regular. So let me move on. Let me bring in, well, before I bring in Mr. Conway, let me make these announcements, and then I'll invite Mr. Conway to join us. As I've said, we have to be grateful and thankful to be in the land of the living. Many persons have not made it. You would have read perhaps yesterday that the former Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, Basdio Pandey, passed away recently. And then we had announced the death of retired Inspector Granville Hopkinson. His number was 7129. I remember Happy, they said he was stationed in a division, but I remember when I was traffic chief, he spent some time with me at traffic headquarters as well. He passed away recently. And then it was announced, I got the message, people, the older folks here will remember former Deputy Chief Immigration Officer Pitamba Ramphal. He was 87, he died recently. The person said former Chief Immigration Officer, but that is not correct. The Chief Immigration Officer, by law, is the Commissioner of Police. Pitamba Ramphal was the Deputy Chief Immigration Officer. He passed away recently. And then we did announce the death of Turn. Remember 7781, Leland Turn? Well, the recent information is that he is being buried today on West Coast Borbies, St. Albans. He died in the U.S. They had church service sometime in the U.S. and the body was taken back to Guyana, and he is going to be buried today, St. Albans. I think there's Belladrum, so that is going to be there this afternoon. And then, sometimes they say the Lord don't give you more than you can bear. And here I refer to one of the former co-accused, George Fraser. Remember, he was charged with us with this trumped-up conspiracy to commit fraud. Now, George eldest brother died some time ago and is to be buried on Sunday coming. And last night, Tuesday night, George's mother died, West Coast Borbies, 97 years of age. So his brother is going to be buried on Sunday, and his mother died last night. So the George, and first of all, condolences to all the relatives and friends of the deceased person. And George, as we say, the other fantastic victory last week, Wednesday. Then you have the death of your brother, now the death of your mother. I know you're strong, my friend. I know that you are strong and you are going to pull through. I know that you are going to pull through. So sincere condolences to George and to all of those persons. Let me make some boarding announcements. After the sad part, we're going to do some boarding announcement. Then I'm going to bring in Mr. Conway. Now, the first announcement today is the birth date of Renwick Thomas, 7971. I remember Tomo very well. When I was a young sergeant doing training at the CID headquarters, he was there on one of those patrol vehicles. Renwick celebrates a birthday today. Congratulations and happy birthday to you, Renwick Thomas, 7971. And then we have some belated birthday greetings. First belated birthday greetings I want to send out to the one and only. Some people say senior counsel. I believe so too. Senior counsel is not what the state or the president and them award. It's how you are viewed by members. I refer to no other than Mr. Nigel Hughes, who celebrated a birth anniversary yesterday. Nigel, I think he celebrated his 60th yesterday. Welcome, Nigel. You're a NIS pensioner now. You have reached the age of NIS pension, so you can start to draw down. Then we also had recently the birthday of retired Deputy Commissioner Leon Trim, who's a regular on this program. He don't comment, but he's there listening to the program. He celebrated a birthday recently. Retired Assistant Commissioner David George, Larry George celebrated a birthday recently too. We know that Larry is not enjoying the best of health. We wish you all the best health-wise and on your recent birthday. And then we have Sagi, retired Senior Superintendent Jarvis, Stephen Jarvis, 9602 Sagi, celebrated, I think it was yesterday as well. We also have retired Deputy Superintendent Morgan Chalmers. He celebrated a birthday some time ago. A regular on this program, he's already on the program, celebrated his birthday recently. Eric Badge, 8218. He's a regular. I saw him sign in this morning. He's in New Jersey. He celebrated. Let me see who more. Washi, Orvin Washington, Arvino Elton, Orvin Washington, old police, old traffic man, old outrider, flying squad. Washi celebrated a birthday yesterday as well. So I think those are all the announcements in terms of birthdays that I want to make. And again, to wish all of those persons all the best on your birthday, Tamu today, and the others recently. Let me bring in Mr. Conway before, and then we're going to move on. CC, welcome, Happy New Year, and welcome to the first episode for 2024 of Speaking Out, Exposing Corruption and Incompetence.
Thank you, Paul. Happy New Year to all. Happy to be in the land of the living. Condolences to those persons, the relatives, friends, family of those persons who passed away. Happy birthday to those belated and otherwise. And also deepest sympathy to retired Senior Superintendent Fraser for the passing of his mother. As you're aware, I'm a West Borbies. I grew up there. I knew the mother well. I visited the home several times, and I remember how she gave him the name Fisher. We used to call him Fisher. I wouldn't give you the circumstances under which he became Fisher. But I know her well, and I used to visit their thing. And if my mother was alive, she would have been 96. I think George's mother was 97. So condolences and congratulations to those persons. And thanks to all those persons who congratulated us on our recent victory. And a quote.
Yeah, thank you, my brother. Thank you. And we can't go any further without us briefly talking about this. We are cricket lovers, Ulrich, Gavin, Aileen. Many of us are on this program, cricket lovers, CC himself. And what a match this morning. South Africa versus India. South Africa won the toss and were bowled out for 55. 5-5. Then India started to reply. India were at one stage 153 for 4. Listen to this. They were 153 for 4. And then they were all out for 153. The last 6 wickets fell for 0 runs in the space of 11 deliveries. South Africa in their second innings were there 62 for 3 or something like that. So on the first day of this test match, 23 wickets fell. 23 wickets fell on the first day. You see, cricket, game of glorious uncertainties, as we always say. That is why we love it so much. And then last night, we had Pakistan and Australia. Pakistan were reeling at one stage, and they recovered to pass 300, and Australia other few overs to spare, and I think 6 without loss. So 2 riveting test matches for us cricket lovers. And the beauty about it, the one in Australia starts at what, 7:30 Ghana time, 7:30 p.m. And then the one in South Africa starts at 4:30. So for those of us who like the game, it's all night, man. All night we watch the cricket, all morning we watch the cricket. We get Christmas after Christmas. So we will continue to enjoy that. CC, I know you would have watched. I know you. What are your views?
I watched both matches, the one in Australia, and then I tried to get a little nap, and then I watched South Africa. It was amazing. As you mentioned, South Africa in the 50s, 55, and then 6 wickets for no run. It was really exciting. I couldn't go back and sleep at all. I was there, I latch on to the television. But it's a game of glorious uncertainties. And then my mind ran on West Indies that we sent to Australia, I think with 7 uncapped players. I hope we're not playing any match at Port, which is reputed to be the fastest pitch in the world. But I think out of the team, we mightn't get batsmen emerge, but I think a Michael Holland or 2 might emerge from that upcoming series.
Yes, I think it starts around the 60s or sometime then. I was looking at the schedule yesterday. So, yeah, we are going to look at the game. We're going to enjoy the cricket, and we are going to be immersed in it. Now, let me just update you further. We indicated that the case conspiracy to commit fraud was dismissed last Wednesday. So if CC and those guys don't have any other thing before the court, well, me, I was the man they targeted. So I have the trumped up sexual assault charges. The matters came up on the 28th before the magistrate. And the magistrate indicated that in the interest of justice, she is sending back the matter to the chief magistrate to be reassigned to another magistrate. I don't know all the reasoning behind that, but the magistrate did make the remark. This is the magistrate who tried the conspiracy to commit fraud case. The same investigators, some of the same weaknesses. I don't know if it's that would have prompted her, but she indicated that she's sending the matter back to the chief magistrate, and the chief magistrate will assign or appoint another magistrate to conduct the trial. And that now comes up before the chief magistrate on the 15th of January. So 15th of January, the magistrate is going to reassign that to another magistrate for the trial. But as I've said before, I am anxiously looking forward. I don't want no Dharmlal where they're going to discontinue, or not even in that case, he wasn't even charged. I don't want no President Ali to discontinue the discontinued 19 fraud charges against him. I don't want a Nandalal where his matter was discontinued. I don't want Ashley Singh. I want to go before the court and defend myself. Let me present the evidence and defend myself. That is what I want. Now, another matter that I need to bring you up to date with, or 2 other matters. I was sued by Assistant Commissioner Karambash. Now, that matter continues on the 19th of this month. He gave evidence, or he was cross-examined in the court. And on the 19th, it will be my time to be cross-examined. CC is also a witness in that matter. And again, I'd say I am confident because you can't claim that you're defamed when somebody tells the truth about you. And the other matter, this is the matter where Brutus sued me for defamation of character. If you recall, that matter was dismissed by the judge. I learned later that the matter he appealed the matter. Now, the matter was to be the full court. He appealed it to the full court. The full court was to make a decision, I think, around the 28th of November. And then we were advised that the full court will forward the written decision to the attorneys by the 1st of December 2023. Well, the last communication I got from my attorney about 2 weeks ago, that until that time, the full court had not sent whatever the ruling was. Again, I say I am confident. So whether the ruling is that to uphold the decision of the judge to dismiss the case, or whether the ruling is that the matter must go to trial, either way, I'm not worried. I am not worried because, as I've said, facts are there. Facts are stubborn things. You can't change the facts. And somebody can't defame you if they tell the truth about you. So those are, that's the update to those matters. CC, do you want to say anything about those? No, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I know that, justice will be done, and I've been following those matters there, and I don't know what will happen there, man.
All right, and let me say this too. As I mentioned earlier, when charges are brought against some people, it is splashed all over the mainstream media and also social media. And when these matters go before the court and they are thrown out, you don't hear a from these people. And they had a similar matter last week to ours. Our matter was decided on the 27th, last Wednesday. The magistrate threw out it for lack of evidence. And on the 29th, 2 days after, the charge of against Marceline Washington, retired senior superintendent, woman senior superintendent, and she was charged jointly with Lorraine Saul and Frank Jackman Wilberg will conspiracy they say they falsify some accounts for feeding to say that meals were provided when meals were not provided. That matter too was dismissed on the 29th of December. You ain't see no way in the media, you ain't seen it, they're announcing it. They're not announcing it. And you know what happened? I made the point the other day, long ago. You had court reporters, people who will go to all the court and they will write on behalf of these newspapers, and they will write about what transpired in the court. Apparently now they don't have court reporters. So unless the lawyer who represented the person or someone who was there, sometimes in many cases the defendant makes a release, you don't hear anything about what transpired in court. But let anybody get a little adverse comment against them. You're going to see how quick certain sections of the media will post it. Yeah, so Washington, and this is, in 2 days, Washington had 2 victories. Saul and Blackman, those matters against them were dismissed on the 29th. I don't know how many more matters. I suspect you have a lot of more trumped up matters pending before the court. And again, you do nothing, you fear nothing. You do nothing, fear nothing. The sad part is that in our case, we were charged on the 19th of May, and over 2 years, the running costing you, as CC indicated, cost him his job, it cost me my job, right? And that is what they aim to do. That is what they aim to do. People are asking here whether you could sue and all of that. That is going to be in the hands of our attorneys. The attorneys are going to decide on the way forward. But as I've repeatedly said, no done as you like. What's the right? No done as you like. CC, anything on that from you?
I agree with you. No done as you like. And those trumped up charges, I said in the previous episode that Suku has never had a successful case. All the cases, apart from people pleading guilty, all that went to trial, finish at no case submission. No, they had one a correction. Nandalal, the magistrate had overruled no case submission, and he went to the court, appeal court, and the judge threw it out, and then the government changed, and the politically inclined DPP null pros. So Suku for me is a political repressive arm of whichever government is in power. They had it in APNU, and now they had it in PPPC.
Yes, and you mentioned the DPP. Let me make this point here now. That during the program on Wednesday afternoon, as I've said, we had Dr. Dexter Todd, who was one of the attorneys for the defense in that conspiracy to commit fraud case. And he made a point, and he said something that I want to take up. He said that having looked at the file, and the file contains all the statements and all of that, He said he find it difficult to believe that anyone with legal training would have recommended that charges be instituted because there was absolutely no evidence. He said in many cases, some of the statements that were written, anyone with legal training would know that what is said in the statements amongst the hearsay and cannot be given in a court of law. And the charge was instituted. And he's saying that he cannot imagine that anyone with legal training would have approved of those charges, having perused the file. But let me say this to you and to all of those forces. People with legal training went through the file, including the DPP. The file was examined, and notwithstanding the fact that there was not an iota of evidence, that is what the magistrate said, not an iota of evidence to prove this conspiracy charge. It was approved. The DPP approved the charge to be instituted. And let me say this before I ask Mr. Conway to make his comment on this matter. As I said before, these cases are not about wanting to get a conviction, because when you look at the file, you know that they don't have any evidence to convict. Because remember, I have said to you, and we like to teach, that in the courts of Guyana and other places as well, is not what you know upon, is what you can prove in a court of law beyond a reasonable doubt. And one would expect that the DPP's chamber would have seen that. But when you're politically inclined, you just decide, well, institute the charge. The DPP has taken the position that we're going to charge, and then you go to court and get off if you want. And not only in this case, we have had over the years, recent years, and Mr. Todd made reference to that. Even in the High Court, people charge you more than other serious offenses. No case submission, the matter gone, which means that the prosecution never had any case in the first instance to put. But it go through the system and people are put before the court. And I said this too in with reference to what Mr. Todd said. The DPP has the authority, as we alluded to earlier, to null pros a case at any time. So even if you want to suggest that this matter, the police in their exuberance might have rushed to institute a charge, and it was not so in the case you're referring to. But even if the police rush and institute a charge, the DPP at any time can call for the file, can review the file, and can instruct that the matter be discontinued at any time. The DPP can do that. But so what? DPP don't want to do that, right? Go before the court, you a lot of money, you lose your job, you lose character. It's not something you can easily regain. So they plaster your name that you're charged for this. They plaster your name that you're there before the court. In my case, they wanted to get a mugshot. So even though they summoned me to attend court on the 15th of October, 2021, when I turned up at the court compound to answer to the charge, Ramana and Rangsam Soku are there to arrest me for the same charge that they summoned me to attend court for. So you see what the motivation is. CC, let me have your take on this issue that Mr. Todd said, that you don't think anybody with legal training would have gone through these files.
Well, let me go into some details. The information I got is that on a Thursday, they filed a recommendation for us to get charged, although they had no evidence, went to the DPP. The DPP was, information we got, on leave. Senior persons at the DPP office reviewed that file and say, hey, they might get nothing here for charge anybody. But let us wait. We're not going to handle it. Let us wait until the DPP return from leave. The DPP returned from leave a couple of days afterwards. Look at it, and I think they wrote one word, approve, and approved the charges for us to be charged, although there was not even a scintilla of evidence to really put us before the court. But getting back to Suku, Suku has been getting direct instructions from their supreme legal advisor, who operates in an office northeast of Suku headquarters, They've been getting advice, directions from a house in Robb Street. They're getting advice from a building northwest of the northwest of the Brickdown police station, and they have been carrying out those directions. No evidence whatsoever. And apart from that, they don't do any kind of investigation. In our matters, they didn't investigate anything. No investigation. The judge's rule say as soon as you have evidence which will cause you to reasonably suspect that a person has committed a crime, you have to caution that person. I was not cautioned. Paul Slow wasn't cautioned. Several others who were charged, they were not cautioned. They breached the judge's rule, which was a fatal action. And the thing is, put us before the court. If you don't do proper investigation, you can't do proper prosecution. They get a prosecutor, they give him basket to fetch water, to bait ducks that were already swimming in the pond. I remember Michael Olin used to use the term giggle, garbage in, garbage out. It's about input, activity, and output. And when you input trash, when you input garbage inside, I don't mind what activity you create, it's garbage gonna come out. Suku don't do investigation. They are arresting people because liars who told a client to remain the constitutional right to remain silent. Arrested Paul Slow because he responded to a summons to 10 court. And they don't know the caution. In our matter, a sergeant gave evidence, testify that after he told the person he was charged, he cautioned him and he read the caution before the charge, not the caution after charge. So for me, Suku should be disbanded. They should scrap it out and throw it over the seawall, because it is a political entity, and they working in, instead of looking at the crime, they're looking at politics playing thing. And for our matter, I like to use acronym. It's PPPC with the matter. It was police, it was politics, it was professionalism, and it was confusion. Let me repeat: PPPC: police, politics, professionalism, and confusion. And I close my case here.
Yeah, except that I would substitute the word professionalism with persecution.
Yeah.
Persecution. And let me tell you this: you made a very valid point about the judge's rule, and you need to caution someone as soon as there's evidence to show that that person may have committed a crime. Now, more than that, in this case that we are referencing, that's a conspiracy to commit fraud case. Not only they did not caution me, no allegation was ever put to me. No one put any allegation to me to say, well, look, this is what is being alleged. And I know from experience and from training is that when several persons are alleged to have committed an offense, those who you may would have arrested and you put the allegation to them, you caution and you might institute charge against them. If one or more persons in that group was not arrested and the caution wasn't put to them, the allegation wasn't put to them, you don't charge those persons. You wait until such time that the allegation is put to the person, whether it's a month, 2 months, a year. When the allegation is put to them and they are cautioned, then they are charged, and sometimes they are joined with the others. But in my case, no. They rushed the charge on the 19th of May 2021. And we told you the reason why. They wanted to get us off the Police Service Commission when no allegation was ever put to me. So perhaps it's one of a unique situation in Guyana. No allegation ever put on the person about no offense at all, and the person's end up charged. And I can't comment on certain aspect of this same matter. I'm waiting for the the civil lawsuits to finish, and then I'm going to tell you more. So stay tuned. We are going to tell you more. CC, before we move off of this subject, anything else you want to say on
Yeah, and
this particular subject?
just to follow up to you about allegations, it is in the Constitution. It's saying that the person must be told in simple language and in language that he understand and in detail what you are investigating. I repeat, in simple language, in language that he understand, and in detail what you are investigating. That is enshrined in the Constitution of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana.
My brother, and they're listening, they're listening. Some of them listen, but they can't learn. But I know that many of the junior ranks and senior ranks who listen are learning a lot because they have expressed their satisfaction to us on the things that we bring to attention on this program. And as I'm saying that, let me bring a next one to attention. And this is where there's a case of police, general issues of police getting involved in private matters. A matter came to my attention. And let me give you a synopsis of what was brought to my attention. A young man has a child with a young lady. So the young lady. They have this matter about custody before the High Court. Now, the High Court ruled that until a final decision is made as to who should get custody, the parents should alternate the child on weekends. So one weekend, the mother should have the child. The next weekend, the father should have the child. And this is a temporary arrangement, according to the information, until such time that the court goes into the facts and decide which one of the parents must have the child. It is reported that over the Christmas weekend, the child was with the mother. And according to the oral order of the court, the next weekend, which is the last weekend, the child was to be with the father. So the child spent some time with the mother over the Christmas weekend, and then the father collected the child, and the father had the child for the New Year's weekend. Now, the mother then wanted to get the child. So she went to the police, and she took 3 policemen, according to the report, including an inspector of police, to the residence of the father in an attempt to get the child. The police went there, and they ordered the father to hand over the child to the mother. Remember saying, this is a matter before the court, This is a matter engaging the attention of the High Court. The High Court made a provisional ruling as to how the custody should work. But the mother, partly dissatisfied with what is going on, went to the police. Police sent 3 ranks, including an inspector of police. They went to the father's residence and demanded that the child be handed over to the mother. The father said, no, the order is that I should have the child this weekend, and I am not handing over this child to the mother. I'll take the child to the mother at the end of the period that I should have the child. Police still insisting that he should hand over the child, and then they told him they wanted him to go to the police station. Well, he said, even if I'm going to the station, I'm not carrying the child with me, the child will be left here. And he closed the door. And according to Slim or who told him do that, Oracle, who told him do that? It is alleged that the police broke down the door, broke open the door, went in there, brandishing firearm, the inspector brandishing firearm. And this allegation is supported by videotapes. I have seen at least 3 videotapes where they are in the man's residence, broke open the door. He claims, the father claims he's assaulted. He went to the doctor, he got a medical certificate. He's assaulted. And he made a report, I understand, and they are trying to dance with the matter. But there are so many things wrong. And this is teaching again for the young policemen. From the time you recognize and you were told that the matter is before the court, I think they're saying they didn't see any written order. You don't have to have a written order. An oral order is a binding order. The judge made an oral order, an interim oral order, and if the mother goes to the station and make a report that she is of the child, you have to investigate, find out from the court what is the order. You can't go and make these type of demands and try to bully the father to hand over. It's a private matter. If the people are in violation of the order of the judge, there's where the court martial and the bailiff will get involved. The normal thing, they will then go to the police and seek assistance from the police. The police will go there to ensure that there's no that a breach of the peace is not occasioned. It is not the job of the police to go there and make demands, break down the man door, and all of that. When you see these things, and the worrying part for me, apart from the whole action, is that a police inspector spearheaded this thing. A police inspector spearheaded this operation and acted so incorrectly. Regardless of what they say, I'm not perhaps privy to all the facts, but prima facie, on the face of it, from the time you recognize or you were told that this matter is engaging the court, you got to back off. You have to back off. You have to get the court involved. You're saying that there's no written order. There's no need for a written order to be there. You have got to find out from the court what is the order. And if it is, the order is being violated, then there are certain steps to be taken, not for you to go there and bully the people. And when again, I say, perhaps if it were a constable or some junior person, you say a lack of experience and lack of knowledge. This is an inspector of police, so perhaps lack of experience and lack of knowledge too. And then the question will come, oh, then this man became an inspector of police to take such blatantly incorrect, wrong action in a matter of this nature. And I have to ask the question again, how an inspector of police is involved in a matter like this? Even if the person came to the station and they made a report, I want to send to find out what is going on. How come a whole inspector you're sending? A whole inspector is going there? I believe there's more to this matter than that is being revealed. Let me bring in Mr. Conway as a former commander, an experienced commander. Let me hear what CC has to say about what I related. And I said this is what is related. We're not saying that everything was related is true, but the fact, the thing that the matter is before the court, if a matter is before the court, then you can't jump in and say you're taking action like that. You have to get the court involved again. So CC, let's hear some wisdom, some nuggets of wisdom from you.
Paul, apart from what you said there, I saw the tape, and it was ridiculous. You saw extensive damage done to the door. You heard the voices of the inspector, and I only had at least two constables I saw there. I heard the complainant relating his story. And don't talk about the flowery language from the inspector, the vile language that they use there. To use a common term, he really F up. As you rightly said, if there's a court and more so engage in the attention of the High Court, investigate. If she feel that the man has breached the order, she has to go back to the judge, and the judge will pass his order. And as you rightly mentioned, sometimes you send the bailiff, and the police will go there just to ensure that there's no breach of the peace. In too many cases, police are getting involved in private matters are not of a criminal nature. Well, and if we go back to our issue, where the action, what we did, there's nothing criminal there. I remember the Attorney General saying that Conway and Slow were members of the Police Service Commission, and they did work and accepted money, and it is unethical. Even though I might agree, although I will not, that is unethical. Where is the criminality? Where is the crime that the police got to get involved? And these things are going on at all levels. At the highest level, now it's gone down to Region 10, where an inspector, and the cameras don't lie. I heard it very clearly. The behavior of the inspector, the behavior of the constables. We heard the complainant. I think his mother was there too. We saw the damage done to the building. The door was down, and understand they were saying for hold it down low to make up the matter. They said they're going to repair the door and other things, and they're trying to work to a compromise.
Yeah, I don't, I am not confident that any action will be taken against the ranks involved. And that is part of the problem. No one is held accountable. No one is held accountable when they violate people's rights in this way. They're not held accountable. And we reference again Romana. Romana arrested a lawyer for advising her client to not to give a statement to the police. She is arrested, and Romana is promoted. The man is now a divisional commander. The same Romana assaulted me, arrested me for turning up to court. And the man was at the time an assistant superintendent. And shortly after, in 2022, the man accelerated to superintendent. So these people are rewarded for this unprofessional action. So what do you expect? It is not going to stop. It is not going to stop. And then, unfortunately, when you move to the court, if you have the resources to go to the court, it takes a long time. And then, as we saw with the same Tamika Clark incident, when damages are awarded, it's something a paltry sum. I think she sued the Attorney General as a representative of the state for 50 million Ghana dollars, and was given awarded damages of 700,000, 3,500 US. Imagine that. And that is one of the reasons why these things will continue. When you look at that tape that Mr. Conway is speaking about, when you listen to the statement, Kadiman outlined in detail, he explained to the police in detail what has transpired. He explained to the police, and notwithstanding that, they tell him that all sort of bullying and all sort of unprofessional action and behavior from the police. And as I say, that is why they wanted to get us off the Police Service Commission, because when we were there at the Police Service Commission, the same Lion Secretary, Jai Jai Singh, will tell you about the work that we did when it comes to discipline, because a lot of people only see the Police Service Commission as the body responsible for promotion, but they also have a constitutional responsibility to discipline from inspector to assistant commissioner. And we were moving ahead with that. They didn't like that. So they run to court and they do all manner of gymnastics to get us off, trumped up charges and all of that. So it's a sad situation. It's a sad situation when an inspector, because one would have expected that if perhaps two constables, the inspector, who is supposed to be a little bit more knowledgeable and more experienced, would have realized that that course of action was totally incorrect. But that is what we have. Now let me move on to this. Let me invite CC if you want to say anything more on that. Do you want to say anything more on that, Mr. Conway?
Perhaps the action by the inspector there, maybe there's more in the matter than the pistol,
But well, some of the our students are making all type of comments here that I'm not going to repeat at this stage. But as I've said, the fact that an inspector of police will turn up at a resident in a matter of this nature suggests that there is more in the mortar than the pestle. That is my view. There is more in the mortar than the pestle. And let me move on and to address this matter now, which has engaged the attention of Guyanese in Guyana and the diaspora over the past week or so. I refer to this serving of summons issue. And let me talk about this service of summons. What we understand is that the police applied for summonses for Rickford Burke, who lives in the United States of America and who is accused of committing cybercrime. In other words, He hadn't been in Guyana since 1998, but they claim that he used a computer system to commit cybercrime. The police applied to the magistrate for a summons. The summons was issued. Now, let me say the first thing. Applying for summons is not something unusual. Issuing a summons by the magistrate is not something unusual. I referred in my case, they had applied for summons, the summons was issued. And when I turned up in response to the summons, they tried to arrest me. Now, let's understand, and this is where the teaching comes in. Let's understand that the magistrate, once the magistrate issues the summons, the magistrate don't get involved in service. The magistrates do not get involved in service. An allegation is made, you apply for the summons, the magistrate issues the summons. Summons is then served by a member of the police force. And that is the law. Police force will serve the summons. Back in the day, you have rural constables attached to the station. That was one of their primary responsibility, primary role. Because when a summons is issued for someone in a district, the rural constable is supposed to be from that district. And therefore, the rural constable is familiar with the defendant. The rural constable will then serve the summons on the defendant. The police, I want to walk you through this thing. The police issued a release. Well, let me tell you that what happened then is that once the summons was issued, and this is the unbelievable part, the police, the Guyana police force, sent a police officer, a gazetted officer, Sabaro, I think is his name. He's an assistant superintendent of police. Sent him to the United States of America to attempt or to serve a summons. Well, they sent him to serve. That is what they sent him for, to serve a summons to Rickford Board in the United States of America. Understand this, people. Understand it. So this officer now traveled from Guyana to the United States of America for the sole purpose of executing this summons. You see the tape with all sorts of things will go on there and so on. We'll talk about it later. But let me say this. There is no way, because I see people dancing and saying all sorts of things, there's no way that an officer from the Ghana Police Force can book a flight to the US. I understand he spent some time, get hotel and all this everything to serve a summons. This had to be sanctioned at a very high level. This and let me say this: you would not expect me to defend the extended squatter, but I'm dealing with facts. The extended squatter, and here I refer to the man who sits in the chair of the Commissioner of Police, cannot take it upon himself to send a rank to the United States to serve a summons on anyone, including Borg. Cannot. So this had to have political direction. Political direction for him to come and to serve this summons. And then it raises another interesting question. What did he tell the immigration authorities was his purpose of coming to the United States or for visiting the United States? Because I'm sure that he is not a citizen. I am sure that he is not a lawful permanent resident, or as we say, you get a green card. I'm sure that he would have traveled on a visitor's or a tourist visa. And the question, therefore, is whether this man violated the conditions of his visa to come and to serve this summons. Now, the police then issued a release to say that the summons was read to the defendant, and the defendant said, this is more that he understood. Right away, I said a lie. Right away, I said, without seeing any other thing, I say the lie. Because CC can come in shortly. You don't read summons to nobody when you got to serve a summons. You have a warrant. It's a warrant, yes, you're required to read the warrant and so on. When you go to serve a summons, you apply that blue paper. That blue paper, we used to say, is a dangerous thing. Because when you commit yourself, when someone committed him or herself and believe that the matter was over, then sometime down the road, a week, 2 weeks down, you give them the summons. And they used to shake up the sense and the nonsense. But you just go and you give them the summons. There's no requirement for you to read the summons to them. You give the stuff. For the time they tell me or they reported that the summons was read to this man, and you say, you understand? I said, lie. I said, that is lie. I said, this corporate propaganda unit telling lies. And anyone who knows the system will know that they are telling lies. Personal service, you just give to the person. And again, personal service also says, and that's what you are taught this in training school, that if the person is not there, you leave it at its last and usual place of abode with someone of reasonable age. And when that is the time when you're required to read the summons to the person who is you're leaving it on behalf of the defendant, and then you will ask them to make sure that it is given to the defendant as soon as possible. We were taught these things in training school, my brother, how you effect service of a summons, how you effect service of a warrant. So when they're telling you that this thing was read and understood and the man see understand, I said they lie. I said right away that they lie. So all right, I think the return date is the 24th of March 20. Well, no, the light one. A signature is not required for summons. You don't require a signature for summons. You just leave it to the person. You're not gonna get no signature. Let me understand this thing clearly. This is policing we're talking about here. There is no requirement for you to get a signature from the defendant when you're serving a summons to him. No requirement of a signature. So let me get this clear. There's no, you just leave it, you just give it to the post. You don't have to have a signature. And we're going to explain later what happens. And let me explain it now, because when the matter comes up, as this one is expected to come up on the 24th, the case is going to be called. And if the person does not turn up, the light one, don't label this one. There is no requirement for a you're not talking about Guyana. I'm talking about Guyana. There's no requirement for a signature when a summon is served. There is no requirement for a signature when a summon is served. Right? So what happens then is that when the matter comes up, you call. If the service is effective, the defendant might appear and answer to the charge. If the defendant fails to appear in answer to the summon, then the prosecutor will advise the magistrate that the summon was served and the defendant did not appear. And most likely the prosecutor will then ask for an arrest warrant to be issued. Now you have what we call return of service. Return of service. So you have to have a return to show that this summon was served. In this case, the police officer who went to the US to serve will have to go into the witness box. He will have to then swear and say how the service was effective. You gotta go in the box. So let me hear we go in the box when the 24th of March come and say that he effective service in the United States. He got to go into the box and tell the magistrate that he effected service on Rickford Burke in the United States of America. That is what he has to do. Hold the Bible and swear. Now, a lot of issue will jump up immediately because he got to be tying up his own self, because actually he can be admitting that he violated the conditions of his visa. He admitted an oath that he violated. I anticipate that at that stage, you're going to get a firestorm of legal challenges. So if the return of service, there's also a case with affidavit and all of that, of service. If it is that he goes in and he convinces the magistrate, or the magistrate accepts that the process was served, if he accepts that the process was served, then what happens? Then the magistrate can go ahead and issue a warrant for the person to be arrested. Right? The magistrate can issue a warrant for the arrest of the person. If the person is arrested, well, you know, the matter proceeds. He appears before the magistrate. If the person is not arrested, then the prosecutor might then make an application for the matter to be tried ex parte. That is behind the person's back. Right? That can be done. But I've said a lot. Let me bring in Mr. Conway to have his say as well. As a former commander, I'm sure he was a process man and all of that. He understands the process. CC, let's get some clarification. Tell them what happens with a summons.
Yeah, and apart from being a commander, I was a process man. I was a summons man. I was a I was an orderly for several magistrates, tutor, and judges, and all kind of thing there. But let me put things in proper context. This thing started with an illegal action, so anything that flows after them got to be illegal. A man used to say fraud is fraud. I cannot see, or there's no authority for a magistrate in Guyana to sign a summons, a defendant summons for someone with an address in the United States of America. There is no authority there. I saw some letters being written about the place and people talking about common law and according to common law doctrine. But common law is based on case laws and it's based on judicial precedents. And nobody has come up with anything to show where a summons originating from Guyana could be served on somebody in the United States of America. Now, as you, just to mention some of the things or restate some of the things that you mentioned, Paul. Yes, the police will apply for a summons and the magistrate will sign. And in this instant case, I don't know if he didn't read it, because sometimes some magistrates sign blindly, We get summons here and they just sign, and that's it. But when you're in the legal field and you have to check everything, at the last episode I said that you got to be meticulous, and there's no substitute for checking. You have to check. Checking. Inspection is an indispensable tool of management, that you got to inspect things come to you before you put your signature there. You are entitled for everything above you. You are responsible for everything above your signature. So here's it. Magistrate signing for a summon to be served on somebody who is overseas, an overseas address, after an application was made by the police. Now, when serving summons, is either you serve personally on the person, or you leave it, and according to the law, you say you leave it with someone someone of discriminate age, having read and explained the nature of the document and requested an early delivery. At his last and unusual place of abode, not at his office, not at his workplace, and they gotta send with somebody of discriminate age, a big person, a person who wait, and ask them to make an early delivery. In many cases, I go in the witness box and give that I saw it with John Jones, male East Indian, brother of this body. I read and explained the nature of the document and requested an early delivery. So after you have solved that summons there, if it's within your station district or your jurisdiction, your station district, you will make what we call a return of service. If the summons originated from another district, you have to go in front of justice of the peace and swear to what we call an affidavit. You have to swear to an affidavit as long as it originated from some other district. And also, if it is of private nature, you also have to sign to an affidavit. Those things will go to the magistrate clerk, who will eventually bring it to the attention of the magistrate. And there and then, the magistrate has two options. He can issue a warrant, or he can say ex parte trial, as long as he's satisfied that the service was proper, that you had proper service. And for those policemen, check the police standing order number 77. It deals with service of summons. And the commissioner, whosoever he or she be, is entitled to establish standing orders or SOP, standing operation procedure, to enforce the law. But those standing orders or SOP must fall within the ambit of the law. They must fit neatly. There must be no room for them to wriggle out. The standing order must comply with the law. And here is it. A man, an assistant superintendent, left Guyana and gone to New York and said that he served personally a summons on Rickford Burke. I saw some tape, and I don't know if they doctored the tape or they used Pegasus to turn off microphones, to turn off cameras, but Sarbu is nowhere in that tape. And I'm talking about the tape that Critic published, that they released a Critic. Sarbu is nowhere at all. So, you could say solve the summons on Burke. And we got to be careful that there are state laws and there and there are other laws in the thing that a police from New York can go to Washington and execute no warrant or serve no summons. But in Guyana, a policeman, a constable, is entitled to serve summons any part in the 83,000 square miles of Guyana. Not the 83 as this extended squad is in. Anywhere in Guyana, including Essequibo, which Venezuela is claiming, that a policeman is covered by law to serve that summons anywhere in Guyana. I've been reading and I've been checking, there's no real reciprocal agreement with Guyana or any other country that I've seen or read somewhere along there where they have a reciprocal arrangement for them to serve summons in another country. I recently had a copy of the Foreign Judgment Reciprocal Enforcement Act number 2023, Act number 9 of 2023, which was signed by President Muhammad Ali on the 2nd of August 2023. And it talks nothing about magistrate court. It has nothing and nothing about magistrate court and nothing about summons, nothing about warrants. And here what the act says: an act to repeal the Foreign Judgments Reciprocal Enforcement Act and to make new provisions for the enforcement of foreign judgment given in countries outside of Guyana, which accord reciprocal treatment to judgment given in Guyana and for related matters. And it talk about a whole lot of other things like judgment debtor, judgment creditor, judgment given by court, and all that thing. People could read this. I think it costs, if you go to the Attorney General office or the Parliament building, it costs $1,820, and it's available. So we don't have no reciprocal arrangement, no way. Let them bring the law. Let them bring the case law. Let them bring the precedents, the judicial precedent, to show that it can be solved thing. Someone, I see them lawyer that is going to solve in any part of the world. No way, it cannot be done. Anything has got to be reciprocal arrangements. And Paul, as we discussed a couple of days ago, even the arrangement with Suriname, we want somebody in Suriname. We can't go to Suriname and arrest him. We got to wait till Suriname arrest him and bring him to Wilson Creek or Springlands, and then we take over from there. That the thing is that you have to have reciprocal arrangements, and there's no reciprocal arrangements going on in the places. So the whole thing, and then for me, they send Sarbu. Why they didn't send the triple jumper? Why they didn't send Prem Narayan? A man that they promoted from inspector to superintendent. Perhaps they're keeping him to go to the Olympics to do triple jump. He might win a gold medal for us. Why is Sarbu? I remember Sarbu's name was mentioned in the paper shorts matter, as the guy who was operating the computer. So look out, all kind of things are happening. But the bottom line is that I haven't seen or haven't heard of any common law issue, any case law, any judicial precedents with saying that a policeman from Guyana can go to United States or any other country and serve a summons, and then you call it proper service. But if they perhaps they're thinking that if they get a right magistrate, the magistrate could rule that they say what happened in the States or was alleged happened in the States is proper service, and he can issue warrant for work, or he can try the case behind his back and convict him, and then they will get the way that he is a convicted criminal.
Well, well said, my brother. And as I said before, I anticipate some strong legal challenge to this whole thing. Are we going to understand what the law says? But let me say this. You know, with reading all the letters and so on, I say it is unbelievable to me that persons with legal training can write to justify and to say this act is legal. I could understand the Robin Singhs and those people who don't have any legal training. But to see people who have legal training try to justify this, and as you rightly said, CC, I was a commander in Barbies. We had many cases where persons who are wanted in Guyana are arrested by the authorities in Suriname and vice versa. And we can't go to Suriname even to take over that arrested person, and they can't come to Guyana. We had an arrangement where they would bring the arrested person to the border, and then we will then take over that person. And the same, it's a reciprocal arrangement. You can't go there. And therefore, I find it amazing that legal persons will make this argument. And for clarify what they have said, there's a letter by attorney Dr. Vivian Williams that I encourage you to read. It is entitled, it says, Beyond the Reach of Legal Process, Lessons from State versus Rafikian, I think is the pronunciation. But there's a case in the United States that Vivian Williams, attorney at law, Dr. Vivian Williams, wrote recently, and it is entitled and said, Beyond the Reach of Legal Process. Also, former magistrate Don Cush, she wrote a letter, I think it appeared in today's paper, yesterday's paper, and a part, she quote a part of the law, which says here that all summonses, warrants, orders, judgment, writs of execution, or other process or proceedings, whether civil or criminal, issued or taken by or by the authority of any magistrate respecting any matter within its jurisdiction, shall have full force and effect, and may be served or executed anywhere within Guyana by a bailiff of the court, by the police or other constable to whom they are directed, or by any other police or constable as the case might be. This is the law. This is the law. And again, I say, people who are supposed to be legal people, they're dealing with law, they're dealing with politics. And I have noted that the Attorney General, Mohabir Anil Nandlal, SC, MP, has been silent on this issue. I haven't read, I don't know if he wrote anything, but I haven't seen anything him commenting or trying to justify this matter. And let me say this to Officer Sarabu and all other policemen listening on this live. I anticipate that when the time comes, he's going to be thrown under the bus because he would have been given an order to go and to do what he did. But remember, you cannot be compelled to carry out an unlawful or illegal order. And you, as a police officer, must have known that, look, this order is unlawful, illegal. This is not something that says, go and do this, and it's something spontaneous. You got to travel to the United States. So you got time to go through, you got ticket and all, you got time to think it over. So it's not a spontaneous act. You have time to think it over. And again, I say, you cannot be compelled to carry out an unlawful order. And I'm saying clearly, this order for you to travel to the United States to serve a summons was unlawful. And and if you don't if you don't understand what I'm saying, go and read the Nuremberg trials. Because you know the Nuremberg trial, Nuremberg is a place in Germany, and Nuremberg trial is where the Nazi war criminals were tried for executing all of those Jews. So how many million Jews they executed in various forms. And to a man, their defense was they were only carrying out orders. They were good soldiers and they were carrying out orders. And the court ruled, the Nuremberg Tribunal is there, that you cannot be compelled to carry out an unlawful order. And as a reasonable human being, you ought to know that an order to go and kill all them Jews is an unlawful order. And further, that if you carry out an unlawful order, you can't use the fact that some superior gave you that order as a defense. That is established law. That is established law. You got the Nuremberg Tribunal, and you have the one in Vietnam, I think it's My Lai. Read those things. And I had to point that out to Minister of Affairs Gadraj back in 2003 when he was ordering me to do something that I considered unlawful and illegal. I told him, you can't order me because it is unlawful. And I am not compelled, I cannot be compelled to carry out an unlawful order. So, and I suspect again, when the defecation, it's the oscillation. That's one of my lecturers at FBI Academy used to say that. And I did ask him if that is the same as when the shit hit the fan. He said, yes. When the defecation, it's the oscillation. Everybody just run. Remember McDonald, Flight McDonald, who was there as commissioner? When they had the inquiry into Gadraj, and they came up that he was giving McDonald, Gadraj was ordering McDonald another unlawful order to give people gun. Even a man who was known to be executing people, he upgraded firearm and so on. When Gadraj was faced in the inquiry, Gadraj said that the commissioner McDonald should have been guided by his conscience and the Constitution. So even if that is what Gadraj was saying, that even if I told McDonald to do something and it is unlawful, McDonald ought to know the law and do the correct thing. McDonald ought to know the law, and that's exactly what they're going to say with this officer. I am sorry, and I told someone I was sorry for him, so I shouldn't sorry. I'm sorry because he found himself in a situation and he decided he can carry out an order, an unlawful order. As I've said before, he now finds himself in a position where he may be required in order to prove service to go into the witness box on the 24th of March and swear that he executed a service of a summons on Rickford Burke in the United States. And somebody raised a very good question because you're saying, CC said that the magistrate might have signed blind and all of that. I do not know that the address in the summons is a U.S. address because these people are so devious, they are so dishonest. For all you know, the address of Burke in the summons might be a Guyana address. So when the magistrate looked at it, the magistrate dealing with somebody who they claim is in Guyana, all of those things are things that you have to consider. All of those things are things that you have to consider. But as again, I say, this matter, I see, got a long way to go. It has a very long way to go in terms of jurisdiction to serve summons, in terms of the authority the police officer had to leave Guyana to say he's serving. I am sure that he violated the conditions of his visa. And I would not be surprised if the U.S. State Department takes up that, because you're talking about a dangerous precedent where you telling me, the lawyers writing to say that a police officer in Guyana can jump on a plane and go to Germany, go to England, go to even Barbados or Suriname, our neighbors, and say that they are serving a summons or executing a warrant or some other legal process. Madness. So let's see where this will go. You got to sit back, you got to watch the ride, and you got to pick sense out of nonsense. You got to pick sense out of nonsense. And any reasonable person will tell you, how can you argue that a policeman in Guyana can head to any country in the world and say he's serving someone. If there's a case, why wasn't this done before? And I want to make a point. I might have alluded to it before. This is not about getting brought to trial to convict. This is about pushing a particular narrative, as my colleague, Mr. Conway, said a while ago. It's about pushing a particular narrative. Push to say, oh, Bork, as a vice president, has been said, oh, he's a wanted man, he's a fugitive, he lives in a basement. You know, when I saw this thing, I had to smile. The vice president making nice to say this man lives in a basement. And a man who lives in a basement seems to have also an apartment in the head of the vice president, because he can't hold a press conference, he can't do anything without referencing Bork. Even with the Washington conference that was organized. So for a man who has no influence, the vice president, the second vice president, Ban Jagdeo, said that Bork is a one-man organization and all of that. And to see this man with this one-man organization is able to do all of this, amazing, amazing. And the statement by the vice president recently, that and let me read what he is alleged to have said. I don't like to misquote them. The vice president is alleged to have said, they live abroad. He's quoted there in one of the dailies to say they live abroad. They have nothing good to say about country. They sow divisions, discord every single day by their comments. They use social media as a weapon against the government and also private citizens, and as a means of extorting people. And clearly this can't be protected speech. This is criminality. And I say this is coming from, that's end of quote. This is coming from a man who entertained Chinese businessmen in the living room. And it is alleged that negotiations, you know, we had a man, I don't know if the old police here, you remember, we had a man at the TSU who was noted for what they call malapropism, you know, using the word incorrectly. I hope I pronounce the one right, because they're going to knock me about it. And he used to say, when you come to these illegal things, it's not negotiations, it's agrotiations. A man who entertained Chinese businessmen in his living room to agrotiate. And the allegation is not that he entertained, he did entertain them in the living room. The evidence is there. But the allegation coming out of that is that he agrotiated with the thing. He's on tape saying, Sue looks after this part of the business. I operate from the government end and so on. That is a man who calling people criminal. That is a man who calling decent people low life and all of that. So let's see. And you know, let me tell you something. Yes, Carl, social media is a powerful weapon, because the PPP in their communist and propaganda mode are accustomed to controlling the media. They're accustomed to that state media, they control. But in the age of social media, they do not have the type of control that they would want. So like this program, for example, they do all sort of things to get it off the airwaves. They come with the gremlins, they do all sort of things. But we got to talk the truth. We're going to come and we're going to tell the truth. And there are other similar programs. So no doubt, based on what the second vice president is saying, the fact that we highlight certain issues, they're going to see that we are attacking the government, and they're going to tell me about cybercrime. But bring it on. Bring it on. I'm not worried. I'm not afraid. I am not afraid to tell the truth. I will come and I will tell the truth. Right? That Terrence. The man was a man named, used to call him Skull, the screaming skull. He's a man who used to use all them fancy words. 78, 19, I think, what was his number. He used to use them words. So the older police will remember the screaming skull. Let me bring in CC for wrap up. We had so many other things to talk about, but let me bring in CC and then we see how we'll go. CC, anything more on this Salmon story?
Yeah, just to add what you said, you made a very instructive comment. Anil Nanlal, the Attorney General, who is regarded as a senior legal influencer for the police. A man who like talk. A man is using the news. A man who's going to front. A man who the CCJ had some stone words to talk about him Because remember when they placed an embargo on the decision of a certain matter, and through his office it was released, and he blamed it on his IT manager. Very, very silent. No comment from Anil. None whatsoever. That is very, very instructive. And just get back to McDonald as commissioner. I remember I went into the Discipline Service Commission inquiry, and I remember they questioning Gadraj about all the illegal actions that he gave to McDonald. McDonald comply with it, including upgrading Achilles from there from a 3.2 to a 9 mm his weapon. And McDonald said, Gadraj said, Commissioner McDonald should have been guided by the Constitution and his conscience. Full stop, and he stopped there. And McDonald was annoyed. Imagine this man throw me under the bus and all. And those are precedents that we got to learn from. And you mentioned about Nuremberg trial. If the My Lai massacre, if the order is illegal, you are not bound to comply with it. But we wait and see what will come out of this. Where Sarabu said, or according to the release, this is Sarabu served a summons to Bork. He read the document, and Bork said he understand. And we saw tape that they themselves released, and there's Sarabu is nowhere in the picture. We didn't hear perhaps the microphone. They must turn off. They must get Pegasus to turn off the microphone, because we hear the conversation between Bork and the U.S. citizen, and then we didn't see Sarabu nowhere in the picture. But let's see, come court day, what the magistrate will rule.
Interesting date indeed. I'm going to be watching the ride. Now, in closing, let me say this. They got two things briefly I want to ask. I noted over the past week or so a report that the DPP gave directions for one Mark Vera to be charged for several, I think 5 offenses, which came out of some incident at the circuit. You know, he's a driver, he's a motorcyclist, a racing driver, either a rider or a driver. And people are asking, why is it that he is not charged as yet? They had said, well, this is even before Christmas, I think. And until now, as far as I'm aware, I have not seen anything that Mark Vera has been charged. And people are asking if it's because he is the child father of a particular minister. So he, like Dharamlal, they are immune from certain processes. And the next question that I want to ask, Malcolm Aripal was arrested for some cybercrime charge. Appeared before the lock up, appeared before the magistrate, but he is on bail. Why is it that Malcolm Aripal, who is on bail, has to report to the police every Monday? Man put on bail for cybercrime charge. He's not reported to court, so he ain't got a date to appear. Well, he must have had a date, but in the meanwhile, between when he is released and on bail and the date for the trial, he has to report to the police every Monday. So New Year's Day, Christmas Day, all those days he has to Why is that necessary? I'm curious to know, why is it necessary? As again, they say Animal Farm. All of us are equal, but some are more equal than others. So one man get a direction of 5 charges, and they're dancing. They are dancing, and the other man amongst harassment. So, folks, we well over time, and let me say to you again, wish you all the best for this year 2024. We have so many other things to talk about. Monday, we're going to have a program on Monday, and we're going to address some other issues, because I noted that the extended squatter who sits in the chair of the Commissioner of Police reports that 2023 was a good year for the police. 2023, with all that took place, he says it's a good year. And you know, some people say, imagine that is a good year. This year, 2024, is a leap year. And you know what they say about leap years? And I had a lot of things to talk about, but let me left them for Monday. So all I can say to you that we didn't even talk about the Venezuela issue. That is how things creep up on us. We didn't even get to talk about the Venezuela issue. And all I want to say, God's willing, Monday, Monday's going to be the 8th day of January. We're going to be here to bring you another episode of Speaking Out, Exposing Corruption and Incompetence. Until then, stay safe, which is not an easy thing to do in Guyana. We had the fires to talk about, fire New Year's Day, fire yesterday, in which a man died. But let me leave some things for Monday. And until then, my friends, bye until Monday the 8th. Stay safe.